Good evening, everybody. How is it going? There I am. Hold on one sec. Why is this not working the way it should? That should be on. The TV is currently missing its picture, which shouldn't be happening. There we go. How's it going, everybody? Welcome on in, Kaneko, Panis, Bones, Chaotic Claw, Howl, Baxter Crook. The TV is indeed back, and so is the PCFX. Give me one moment. There we go. I have been having a fitful time with my CD burner. Am I praising my cat, Kaneko, or cats in general? Thinking about Battle Heat? I don't blame you. Well, praising my cat is very easy. Simon, you are sleeping very sweetly on the bed right now and not causing problems for anybody. Let me check, Howl. I might not have that one ready to go yet, or if I do, I don't have the... You know what? I don't have that patched yet. So Queen of Queens will wait for another night, though that one looks absolutely wild. I did show it to a friend of mine who is a big wrestling nerd. I mean, he's a huge wrestling nerd. and he was blown away by the roster, though he was very disappointed that Bull Nakano was not on the roster, though we figured out the game was being developed in 1994 and released in 1995, which meant that she was under contract with the WWE at that time. So that's probably why she wasn't in the AJW game, the All Japan Wrestling, or Women's Wrestling, whatever the league was. It was AJW. But we basically figured out, she was under, contract with WWE at that time, so, of course she wasn't in that game. Though, I'm excited to give that one a try. Apparently only the first of 2 discs has been translated, though disc 2 is on the agenda for this year. One thing that's very exciting, there is a little bit of homebrew for the PCFX, which is almost unbelievable, but some does exist, and hopefully I'll get to show it to you tonight. Though I am having a lot of issues with my CD burner. Also, the music that's playing right now is just a playlist made up of various PCFX music. This track right now is from Zenki. But believe it or not, a lot of doesn't look like many PCFX soundtracks have been uploaded at all. At least not on the English-speaking part of YouTube. They might be elsewhere. Yeah, my cat probably is, well, he's always planning to bug me later. But I thought for tonight, also, I went out to the store and got myself an extra fine-tipped, ultra-fine point Sharpie. So no more stack of totally blank discs. We're good. We're labeled now. I know what discs I'm putting in the PCFX. Which I realize is a big accomplishment. So, why don't we start with some we haven't seen? Also, I will be in the process of making more. But we have a lot of fun things we could look at. Yeah, I've joined the modern age. I have a Sharpie. Hey, Felly, how you doing? There were still some games that, believe it or not, I didn't get to on Friday. Surviving the snow. It didn't snow that much here, but it's very, very cold. So it turned into an icy layer on the road almost immediately, which wasn't great because I watched a multi-car crash happen in front of me earlier this afternoon. And it was quite low speed. Nobody was injured. I was able to stop in time, but it was still a big hassle. So 1 second. Let's see. First, I'm going to pop in a game that, in an alternate world, we could have gotten, and you'll see what I mean by that. And before I type in the name of what this is, I'm going to have you all guess and see if you can figure this out. And why I might be saying this is almost like a game we could have had. Hey, Tan, I'm doing well. I am playing with my new toy, which is an obscure Japanese games console. I'm really liking it. Now, this was a fairly late release, coming out in 1998. It's either 97 or 98. What I'm going to say about this game, I have played one game in this series on stream, and it's not for the PCFX.
ある時彼は妖怪に囚われた巫女を救出し、その巫女と恋に落ちました。
Also, this console, for anybody who wasn't here Friday, is the NEC PCFX, was the successor to the PC Engine, also known as the TurboGrafx 16, came out in 1994 and focused heavily on FMV features. This did not succeed very well in the marketplace, but it has a very dedicated following, and of all the game consoles at the time, it was by far the best at full-screen, full-motion video playback. Now, does this character look familiar? I knew someone would recognize him, so thank you for the follow, Mac. This is Makeruna Makendo Z. It is the RPG spin-off of Makeruna Makendo, which you know on the Super Nintendo as Kendo Rage. There were 3 games in the series and an anime OVA. This was the final game in the series, coming out in 1998. And it is a pretty straightforward RPG to my understanding. But I can imagine an alternative timeline where we somehow got Makeruna or Kendo Rage RPG. Now, this game does not have a translation, but from what I've heard, it's pretty easy to figure out. Now, I have watched the OVA, Makeruna Makendo, and that is translated. And we've got a bitchin' opening sequence here. Oh, it's not even the only one, Panis. So how good is this? Makeruna Makendo Zetto. I don't remember what his Japanese name is, but in the US, Kendo Rage, that was Bob. Like, how can you not love this? McEnroe. It's flawless, Petty. It only took her about, 3 hours, Howl. Now, the OVA is on YouTube, translated for free. Very fun, typical mid-90s anime OVA. Lot of fun. I like to imagine that Bob here is the one singing the song. Also, this is a really stylish opening animation. It was almost like out of a James Bond film there. Look, there were no nipples. It's fine. Yeah, I believe this came out all the way in 1998. It's very peak. Let's take a look at what the actual game is like, though, instead of just the opening. Also, how you doing, Procione? The sushi. We've got a lot of voice acting. So the real appeal of this system during its time was that games were absolutely full of high-quality animation and voice acting. The system had no 3D capabilities whatsoever, but if things like having famous, anime seiyuu voice actors in a game was important to you, this was the console you had to have. It really was Panis, and that was what NEC were kind of banking on. And while it didn't nearly sell so well as the PC Engine, it had a very devoted fan base. It stayed on the market for 4 whole years. It's easy to hand-wave this as a failure because it only had, 60-something games released for it and didn't live up to, the previous console. But I think just dismissing it out of hand as a failure is way too reductive. It was on the market longer than the Dreamcast, or the same amount of time, roughly. Right, and otaku tend to be like that. They were the ones who had a Laserdisc player, and they go to the fan events, and, Speaking of my friend who I was talking about with wrestling, there's no better way to describe him than a wrestling otaku. He's a bit older than me. A friend of his, that I don't know, went to study abroad in Japan back in, I think, 1995. And he asked, can you bring me some, Japanese women's wrestling stuff? And he brought back a Super Famicom game with Bull Nakano on the cover and a fan magazine about her. Fast forward to, last year. Bull Nakano was at some kind of wrestling convention. And he got her to sign that old fan book from the 90s and the Super Famicom game. And, she doesn't speak a lot of English, but when she saw that magazine, it had pictures of, her old apartment from the 90s and all that. She was just, blown away that somebody, in the US had that for her to sign. Hey, Skullcrow, welcome on in. How you doing? But I get a little annoyed at the way I've been, because when I decided to buy this system, it was really kind of on a whim. Because I saw a good deal on one listed as junk and was able to get it working pretty easily. It annoys me hearing people say, oh, it's all junk, there's just a lot of VNs and stuff, dismissing them as if they're not real games, just because it doesn't have the same action-heavy library as the PC Engine. That annoys me. It annoys me a lot. Because even as somebody who doesn't speak Japanese, I find this really fascinating. Right, and some of the VNs that are on this ended up being really popular and really influential, like the Angelique games or Welcome to Pia Carrot. Pia Carrot spawned a whole series. Or people dismissing things that have, adult game aspects, like, oh, isn't that the console with the porno games? I don't think that's very fair. To take something like, Dragon Knight 4, which is the 4th game in the Dragon Knight series, started back in the 80s. It's by Elf Corporation. Elf Corporation, very popular on Japanese computers with RPGs and visual novels, which were aimed at adults. Toki Memo is one of the most influential games of all time. It's massive. And not just that, Dragon Knight 4, that singular game, which was originally a PC 98 title in 1994, was so popular that it got an anime adaptation, it got ports to Super Famicom with, the adult content removed. But, it's a great RPG. It's on PCFX. It's one of the best versions. Ooh, yeah, try swapping Capel Skullcra. That could do it, because there's a lot of points of failure with the power-based converter. But, it annoys me to see things like that hand-waved away as if these games don't have value for some reason because, there's not safe-for-work content in them. And it really shows there was a time when you could get console games that were for adults in a very different way than we think of now. You're like, well, why can't you have, some fan service alongside really great gameplay? Why not? What's wrong with that? Or something like the amount of voice acting in this game would have been really appealing to the kind of core audience for this system. Exactly, Petty.
そうね。さやちゃんももう中学生。どんな子になってるのかしら。
And the system might be less accessible to a Western audience without translation tools, but I don't think that makes it worth dismissing out of hand. I fear that the younger generation now, Petty, have whipped all the way around again to being very puritanical and very uncomfortable with any degree of sexuality or nudity in films. And they'll say, well, why was there a sex scene in Oppenheimer? Because adults have sex? I don't know. Like, what do you want? It's... their relationship is important to the film. It's the kind of thing that bothers me. I mean, I don't know if I would recommend you go out and buy one immediately, Panis. It's very easy to emulate the PCFX, thankfully. But I'm having so much fun with mine already.
光、間に合ったわよ。イエーイ、用務員さんおはよう。おはようさん。
Also, something like this game is kind of neat because, the graphics aren't really that much better than you'd get on 16-bit, but the animation and voice acting and everything really just feels like, games from the future that didn't come to be. I like that. Now, one thing I have been toying around with that I haven't gotten to work yet is I'm trying to get a live translation screen reading overlay set up. I've been experimenting. I haven't gotten it working yet to a point where I can stream an untranslated game and have it automatically translate, but I think I'm getting close. So when I get to that point, what would essentially happen is this Japanese text would pop up on screen, and then an overlay would go either over that, or I might position it under the TV, essentially subtitling in real time. Which I think would be awesome if I got that working. And it is super cool, Tan. Some of the games on here are just like... I mean, Team Innocent, I think that's what I'm going to play on Friday. I want to play the other two scenarios. It's awesome. Right, a lot of these seem to have pretty straightforward fonts. And while obviously it won't be perfect and it won't capture speech-only dialogue, it would still be better than either me just holding my phone up to the screen and reading that. Which I can do, that kinda works. But I think it would be really neat if I could get it working to any real degree. I want to see what battles in this game look like if we can get there. I think it would use DeepL, Tan. It would either use DeepL, Google Translate, some translation library. I think it depends on the different screen reader app. But how cool would that be? And while obviously something like that wouldn't be translated, Occasionally I understand phrases, but it's not that important, you know. So is that blood on that table? This looks like a cloning laboratory. But she's cute, so it's okay. Oh, there's so much more Riley.
事件の匂いがするわ。日本に来てよかった。UFO、ゴースト、UMA。
I think we lost our way when anime girls stopped having hair like that. Right, if there's voice, there's no subtitles, and the voice is not very well mixed. Do you know what I mean?
すいません。
Oh, there's Bob. I only know him as Bob from Kendo Rage. I'm gonna call him Bob.
やはり私が見えるのですね。私は妖怪警
That's Bob from Detroit right there, Riley. Well, no, Bob he's not from Detroit. He fought in the Battle of Detroit. Oh, somebody needs to write that short skirt, long jacket parody now, Petty.
妖怪刑事？あなた妖怪なの？本当に？私そういうのに憧れてるの。本当の本当？
The thing that really stands out about these games compared to, say, you know, a lot of the FMV games that were coming out on home computers in the West at this time, or on like Sega CD, even early PlayStation 1 games, the voice acting here is much higher quality because they were hiring professional voice actors. You know, they were hiring famous, well-known voice actors from TV and anime to voice, you know, the same roles in these games. Whereas a lot of the ones we got in the West, and I think part of what gave FMV games a bad reputation, it's the intern from down the hall doing their best to act, but they're not actors. So we'd get really shitty voiceovers.
私は剣の鞘。
Which I think definitely helped dampen enthusiasm for these things. Now, obviously, there were exceptions. The Wing Commander series stood out for having big budget FMV with, you know, famous actors and really high production values. But even then, that was, you know, a little later.
あなたが走っていたただならぬ気配は剣の一族の血だったんですね。
You know what I mean, though? It's like,
どういうこと？
it almost felt like it wasn't being not taken seriously, but they didn't want to shell out the big bucks. Whereas this system, it's about $500 US at launch. It was a premium product. And it would be a big sell to say, make somebody want to choose this over the PlayStation, which was $200 cheaper. And could do 3D games. I don't know yet, Felly. Right. We're in the school now. How long until we get... I want to see what the battles look like in this game. This is just picking up your voice from a random mic. That's kind of funny. Also, while I don't know Japanese... Oh, I can move now. A lot of this looks like it probably wouldn't be too hard for a beginner language student. I'm not seeing tons of kanji. Also, we have control now. Now, I don't know about, you know, how well this game would work as a language learning aid. It probably wouldn't be too bad. Also, while these are quite simple, you know, chunky little sprites, I like how they look. Alright, let's go find adventure. Let's find what we're doing. Right, they move nicely, they look fine. This is far from the most graphically impressive game on the system, but that I might still have to give to Zenki. That was, like, jaw-droppingly good looking. Can I go in these doors? Nope. Some of the games that I want to play on here, especially Sparkling Feather, blew me away with its opening. I might just play that opening again so people can see it. Because it's like they took everything that was popular, put it in a blender, and it came out with the most incredible mix of stuff. Alright, let's get out of here. Oh, can I just leave? Can I leave the school? Nope. This is the school that I worked so hard to get to in the first game in the series back on Super Nintendo. At a 4-hour walk to school. Right, and that's the system's real selling point, Owl. Instead of using MPEG-1 video compression, instead there's an entire chip, I believe it's called the Rainbow, in the PCFX dedicated to decoding MJPEG format video. So it's motion JPEG. And this chip is dedicated to an entire background layer of the console that can decode up to 30 frames per second full screen, full color playback. So thank you for the raid, Glove Clan OG. But basically it means that you're getting uncompressed video in a way that the other consoles of the time simply could not do. Even the Saturn with the MPEG decoder card couldn't produce video as high quality as the PCFX, and that was a big part of the selling point of the console. Because on other consoles it would have to be, you know, squished a little bit, you know, it wouldn't take up the full frame, or it would be compressed then blown up and look very pixelated and blocky. So this was a no-compromises approach, except the compromise was that the system was never intended to do 3D graphics at all, which turned out to be a deal-breaker for lots of people in 1994. The other thing that was assuredly a deal-breaker was the lack of backwards compatibility with PC Engine and PC Engine CD software. Now, the reason for that is it does not have enough architecture in common. So they would basically needed to have included an entire PC Engine in the PCFX for that to work, which is not very cost effective. Is that the building I was just in? Now, if they had done that, even though it would have increased the price of the system even more, I think they would have had an easier time convincing people who had already invested, you know, multiple years into their PC Engine collections to upgrade. But it probably would have also made the system like $600 at launch. So it was not pre-VCD. I think VCD as a format started existing around 1990. Though this cannot decode VCD. Let me check. Because now I'm curious. No, actually VCD was introduced in 1993. So chances are they wouldn't have been able to include VCD compatibility without completely reworking how the system operates. Because VCD is MPEG-1 encoding. Right, it was selling movies on optical disc, Belly. At kind of really suboptimal quality. You know, your average VCD probably looks a little worse than your average VHS tape of the time. And rather than, just having fewer lines of resolution, it's quite blocky looking, because it's MPEG-1 compression, which was not very efficient nor very good. No, it's definitely more analogous to DVD Skullcra in that it's a digital signal being read with a laser rather than an optical analog signal being read with a laser, which is what Laserdisc did. So the technology is significantly more advanced than Laserdisc, but produced, a worse result. But it was cheap, it was affordable, it used equipment that was already being mass-produced for various other companies. So it made sense, and it worked very well in high humidity environments where something like videotape could easily, grow mold on it. So that's why VCD was popular in, say, Southeast Asia, where videotape wasn't as popular. And it was much lower cost. Oh, I've got options now. Whoops. Hold on. I'm gonna pull out the translator on my phone. Try to figure out what's going on here. Give me 1 sec. Phys ed teacher, go get some rest. Right, that's because higher-end Laserdisc players would just include a full, Oh, is this, do you want to save? I see. Yeah, the Victor Saturn, I think, is the one that does that, Riley. There's also a single model of PlayStation 1 that has native VCD compatibility. There is also an attachment for PlayStation 1 that gives any PS1 VCD playback. Oh, welcome! This is what this guy is saying. I'm Nishigodera Noboru, also known as Silver Hair Teacher, a part-time instructor at Migahara Academy. Just like that he's called Mr. Silver Hair. When it comes to martial arts, I know everything from around the world, past and present. Net Yarose is PlayStation 1. Oh, the Laser Active module, Skullcra. What? You want to learn a new special move? Come on, Google Lens. It's okay. Now let's think about which special move would suit you. What can I learn? I'm thinking about it now. Come again in a while. Hey, Commodore, how's it going? See, other systems that could play VCD, the Philips CDI with the digital video cartridge, which mine has. The 3DO also had a VCD playback module, which costs more than the system does these days. I don't think any model of the Dreamcast could play VCD. This cannot play VCD. I'm trying to think if I know any others where VCD is supported. I think the Amiga CD32. Yep, I mentioned that already, Commodore. I think the CD32 had an add-on, or it might have had native support. That is a platform I will very likely never pick up. Because if I'm going to get into Amiga games, I'd rather just get a nice computer than, you know, an inherently compromised games console. Could be fun, though. So there are models of the Saturn that just play VCDs, Commodore. But the MPEG cartridge is more for better playback of video within games rather than enabling VCD playback. So I can't quite figure out what to do here. I probably want to be using a translator. Might move on from Makeruna Makendo Z here. This is one that when I have better, translation stuff set up, I will probably come back to. Because one, I really like the first Kendo Rage. Or Makeruna Makendo. And it looks like fun. Did I talk to this guy before? Yeah. One of my classmates. I think I talked to everybody in here. Right, I know I'm on the 3rd floor. This is where I began. Yeah, this is one I'll figure out another time. Let's see what else I've got, because I've got a bunch of discs still to check out. Let's see. Vampire Killer is not on the PCFX, Commodore. Oh, here's one that's a little funny. This is not the PC Engine. This is a different console entirely. It's actually NEC's follow-up to the PC Engine. No, it is not. That's PC Engine CD. Castlevania Chronicles was on the Sharp X68000. This one might give people a bit of a laugh. I played a Mahjong game last time. But what about the Western, not a Mahjong game, matching tiles game, Solitaire Mahjong? That's right. That game by Activision got ported to the PCFX, which I think is really quite funny. Simply ask. There are 2 Activision games on PCFX. The other one's Return to Zork, which I played a bit of last time. But for anybody, I don't know how it's possible to exist and not know this, because it was wildly popular for a time. Right. Well, because, when I was a kid, Howl, this is what I and pretty much anybody would think of when you said Mahjong. Because this was wildly popular on, computers. It was wildly popular on game consoles. It really is quite fun. It has nothing to do with actual Mahjong. But it's still kind of fun in its own somewhat cheesy way. Now, there's no guarantee you will be dealt a winning hand to begin with. You could just be doomed and not know it till you get there. The original one of these was released, I think, in 1987 on home computers. There's one of these on 3DO as well, which that version would probably be better to play because it outputs at a higher resolution than this, so the tiles would look a bit crisper. But you know what? This is fine. This is pleasant enough. Wait, what? Can I not? There we go. Can be a little tough to see here. Cheeky kids trying to take advantage of Zork's text parser. You should know better. Right. Real, Riichi Mahjong, or even Chinese Mahjong, or American Mahjong, those are all different variations, are much closer related to Gin Rummy. Rummy is a, very similar set building game to Mahjong. Trying to avoid the easy matches because those don't work very well. Yeah, I mean, not knowing if you can win or winning despite, a tough opening hand is a lot of the appeal of this kind of game. Now, I'm not ashamed to admit that I played a lot of this kind of Mahjong Solitaire as a kid on the family computer, because it's pretty fun, Right, there was a fad of, Riichi Mahjong, or I think it might have been Chinese Mahjong at the time, Procione, in the US in the 1920s. Which is really funny to think that, as it's popular now, it was popular 100 years ago. Yeah, the all-in-one Commodore. Let's see if I can't win this, this first hand here. Now, a lot of the appeal of these games also came in the visuals they would use and the music and all that. I'd say this is about average for what I would expect out of something like this. Not remarkable, but not bad. There we go. There we go. We're cooking now. You really want to try to eliminate any bottleneck tiles as quickly as you can. Now, while this is not, quote-unquote, real Mahjong, I do think these are still pretty fun. And I think it's kind of telling that for as popular as Riichi Mahjong is in Japan, a game like this still came out in Japan on pretty much every console. Even the Famicom has this exact same kind of game. Because the first Mahjong Solitaire video game was released, I think, in 1987. So it's on home computers, it's on Famicom, it's on PC Engine, it's on Mega Drive, there's ones on Super Famicom, 3DO, PCFX. These were really popular for a time. We have Mahjong at home, and it's this. But I mean, there is a certain, charm to it. Yeah, real Mahjong reasserted itself. But honestly, I kind of have a soft spot for these. Right, it's low pressure, it's a game you can play to relax, and you can easily lose a couple hours to it. Get into that kind of, flow state with it. This is the kind of thing where I'm gonna, look at the VOD and see all the obvious matches that I didn't see when I was playing, because you somehow become blind to them while you yourself are playing. Do you know what I mean? It's like you get tunnel vision, and you can't see what's right in front of your face. Now, I don't know if this version will tell me when I'm out of matches or not. Some do, some don't. So I really need another green dragon tile. I'm not seeing any. Also love a 4. Don't see an 8 to match this with anywhere. Multiple 5s. I might be dead. Let me see, there is not a hint function that I can see. Oh, maybe there is. Hold on, the options menu is just in English. Oh, that's funny. Oh, we can choose our background music. That means this was a really low effort port that they did not put a lot of work into. Which makes sense. So let's see. That's neat. You can see what's left. Oh, I did still have a move. Does this mean I'm out of moves? Okay, I'm out of moves. All the different flavors of Oriental music they put in. Now we can turn music off. Let's see. Are they all going to be like embarrassingly Orientalist? The answer is yes. Oh yeah, let's look at the backgrounds. And there's an arcade mode. Oh, this just keeps getting better. Because I know that background is where the Great Wall of China meets the sea. Okay, let's hear... Oh... See, what are our background options? Are they all going to be the Great Wall of China? Place your bets now. Oh no, that one's not the Great Wall. We got some Buddhas. We got some mountains. That's Liangshan province there. One's a little hard to see, but I assume it's a big Chinese dragon. China by way of tourism brochure. What, Liangshan province? Or that it was a dragon? Oh, that's Xi'an right there. Terracotta warriors. The province? I feel like that's pretty famous, isn't it? The music restarting every time I choose a new background is absolutely killing me. Well, we just got Confucius chilling here. Is that one? Now, if the background was animated, we'd really be talking. Alright, we gotta hear all the music now. Woo! They somehow just keep getting more and more, for lack of a better word, Chinesey. Like, not Chinese, but the, like, American imitation of such. Like, there's a million famous Chinese folk tunes they could have gone with. No, I feel that I'm probably the weirdo for that one. Tan, not you. Oh, this one's grooving a little bit. Oh, I'm going with this one. This one can't steer me wrong. Ooh, this is delightful. And genuinely, I do have a big smile on my face. if I had to compare this to the other Mahjong game on the system, which is Super Real Mahjong P5 FX, I might prefer this one. Yeah, Lyles, these were super popular back then. Mostly because that Super Real Mahjong port is a disappointing version of something that I like. There was one on the Lynx! You know, sometimes I did briefly have an Atari Lynx and I sold it to somebody who I knew would enjoy it more than me because they were a big Atari guy. Sometimes I regret selling that, and now knowing that I could have been playing, you know, solitaire Mahjong on it, clearly I made the wrong choice. Yeah, what am I doing with myself if I'm not playing Chip's Challenge on the go? Chip's Challenge is really good. Like, genuinely, very good video game. Someday I'll get another Jaguar and I'll get a Lynx again. They are low on my priority of systems to get. Highest priority is a PC engine. You know, is a Turbo Graphics or Turbo Duo. Preferably one that's already been region modded. I don't mind paying somebody to do that for me. Could be fun to do it myself. Yeah, where did you learn to fly? I don't think Cybermorph is that bad. I played quite a bit of that when I had a Jag, and I think it's pretty fun. Because you get better at flying eventually, and then you start to get into it, you know? So yeah, I really need to get rid of this white dragon. Now, I'm never planning to get a Jaguar CD. Because at that point, I may as well just take $500 and light it on fire. It'll probably bring me more, you know, entertainment. It'll bring me less heartbreak. Because even when they were brand new from the factory, like half of all Jaguar CDs just never worked. They were always just broken. It's like an Atari 5200 controller. I have a new in-box 5200 controller, and I finally got around to testing it. It doesn't work. It just doesn't work at all. Thankfully, repairing those is actually kind of easy. But just not worth doing. Well, the 5200 is weird, because it's pretty solid technology, especially for 1982. But Atari did not do a good job making a case to the public for why you should upgrade, especially when the console wasn't backwards compatible. Honestly, if the PCFX was backwards compatible, they'd be a lot more in demand than they are. Because I got mine for not that much money. Granted, it was listed as junk, but anybody who frequents Japanese auctions knows that junk doesn't mean broken. Junk just means it has not been thoroughly tested or confirmed to be in working condition. So while buying stuff labeled junk is a bit of a gamble, it's not a huge gamble. You know? There is a very large homebrew scene for the Jaguar. There's almost no homebrew scene whatsoever for the PCFX, but there is one guy at the very least who has made several demos and ports 2 of which I have burned to disk that I'm going to try out a little later. One even does real-time 3D rendering in software, which I'm actually quite excited to see. You get the cat instead of the games console. I don't think the post would deliver that, but who can say? Yeah, they sent me a bobcat. Right, and that was my goal with this, Bones, was I had a strong suspicion of what was wrong with it, and I was right. So it was a very easy fix. Now it works just fine. Actually, I'm pretty impressed at how well it's been working. I think I've had one freeze, but that's about it. For the most part, the thing's been rock solid. Oh, we might have a clear. I really got to find this too. If that 2 is under that, I'm screwed. But I can't really do anything about it. Which, it's increasingly looking like that's the case. Yep. Nope. I'm done. I can't win now. Right. You know, stuff like AVGN is a great starting place to get interested, but then it's more fun to... Oh, hold on. Oh, we have different tiles we can do. Oh, let's go. Hold on. Oh, look at this. This is awful to look at. Oh, that's dreadful. Oh, these are all just terrible. I'm gonna stay on the Mahjong one here. They're much harder to tell apart. That was brutal on the eyes. Not that this is like particularly easy. Just because of the low resolution, but you know, I know these tiles pretty well. I play enough Mahjong, I better know these tiles. Oh, they were awful. They were terrible to look at. My eyes did not thank me. Yeah, usually when I say something is dreadful on stream, Lead & Gin, it's because I'm delighted at the way in which it's wretched. But that was just truly bad to behold. I try really hard to not be overly negative, especially about old games, because personally, I have a lot more fun finding what's fun about something than tearing it down. You know, that's got much more appeal to me, which is not going to surprise anybody that's watched me for any length of time. Not that I necessarily think people are too harsh on games or that there's not a place for that kind of humor, because there obviously is. You know, I loved watching AVGN when it was new. I still love a lot of those old videos. But, you know, then you had entire generations grow up where that's their only exposure to these games. And that's the shame to me. You know? People should try out, you know, if an old game looks weird and kind of like nothing you've ever seen before, try it out. very, very, very many talking objects. Who didn't have the context to understand that, he grew up playing Castlevania 2. He loves that game. It's got flaws, and that's what he's making fun of. In the video, he doesn't think it's unplayable doo-doo garbage. It's a treasured part of his childhood. But to a kid who's never even held an NES controller, they'll watch that video and think it's funny, but also that he's more or less being serious. He wasn't making videos with the intention to shape public opinion ever. He was making what he thought were very clearly understood to be comedy videos. But then as that, context fades away with time, the natural result. If anything, I feel kind of bad for people who are just making videos for themselves that then gain a large audience, who take what they say seriously, who take what they say as, an authoritative opinion. And it's like, no, he just wants to make silly videos and make movies and laugh about, old games and old monster movies and stuff. That's why I much prefer the videos he just does as himself. Like, this was my experience with this, movie. I thought it was fun, it was a corny movie I loved as a kid, kind of thing. There's a lot more appeal in that to me than any of the AVGN episodes where clearly it's not a game he cared about, he grew up playing or anything like that. But those videos pay the bills. I don't begrudge it. But you can tell, the passion's long since gone. Still watch them. I'll still watch those new episodes because I'm always curious. No, there are more matches on the board still. I'm not seeing them yet. Oh, probably more than 10 years ago at this point. Maybe after the Star Wars episode, and I have no idea how long ago that was. That's what I was missing. I mean, I also, Howl, Sean Baby was really funny. And, why wouldn't you, put some stock in his opinions when, you're going out of your way to read them? Specifically, not to say that Deadly Towers is a good game, but I think if more people tried it, they'd be surprised. There's a wild amount of ambition in that game, and I can never hate that. I have no clue talking object. Probably? Maybe? I don't know. I'm sure Cracked must still exist. Maybe it doesn't. I don't know. Well, I can't say, show me a move. No? Not out of moves yet, but it's quite close. Say listicle in a mirror 3 times, it'll appear. They really kind of popularized that format. I mean, he's got to be in his 50s, right, Howl? He's not young. How old is Sean Baby? I'm gonna cheat. Oh, there's a lot of moves. I'm just blind. Oh, he's definitely older than me. Why didn't he stay young? Why don't any of us stay young? $48. Okay. That makes sense. I'm just blatantly cheating now, by the way. The game lets me, so I will. My eyes are starting to glaze over at the tiles. There we go. Now we're moving. Maybe. We were for a second. And my mind blanks out and I can't see what's what. Oh no, here we go. All right. We might be able to do it this time. Yeah, lots of people. I'm convinced almost every family had this on the home PC at some point. NEC, because it was wildly popular for a time. To the degree that I think it was probably unavoidable, you know. We got it. Congratulations! Yay! We do have other layouts as well, so you got a lot of game here. You know, you're not in danger of running out of mahjong to numb your senses with. Right. You know, these are fun to just sit back and relax with. You don't have to think very hard. You can just enjoy matching up the pretty tiles. It's a lot faster with a mouse. Now, I know there is a mouse accessory for the PCFX. I do not know if this game supports it. But I looked them up. They are hideously expensive. Even just trying to buy a Player 2 controller, I can't find one anywhere for under $50 US. It's half of what I paid for the system, and I'm not paying half that again for a second controller. It does not howl. It looks like a computer, but it is not a computer. It would be nice if it was. Make things easier. I mean, I really do want a Player 2 controller for this, so that I can play as the other characters in Battle Heat. Port Linux to it. No, it has not been ported to PCFX, and I don't think anybody's even tried. That I do not have the skills requisite to attempt. There is no Doom on PCFX. Even the Mattel Hyperscan has Doom booting now. There is a homebrew scene beginning to emerge for the Hyperscan, which is part of why I bought one of those. I'm not sure the PCFX would be able to run Doom. I don't know that its processor is fast enough, because it has no real way to help. You'd have to do Like a total rewrite. I'm not convinced it's possible. There is Howl. Oh, you knew it, you just typed it wrong. Yeah, there is, but do I really want to have one controller that's modern and one that's correct? The 286 clocked at what, though, Panis? I mean, this is a 32-bit processor, but that's no guarantee. Memory constraints could be an issue as well. I mean, I would love, maybe more than anybody anywhere, to see Doom on the PCFX. Because I don't know if there's anything more tailor-made for me than that. You know, imagine if you just came to a Wednesday stream expecting Doom, and you got it on this. Actually, speaking of Doom ports, I probably will stream the new Dreamcast port of Doom 64 because it looks amazing. A ton of work went into that. What am I missing here? It did howl. It's got normal mapped textures. It runs at double the resolution, runs at 60 frames per second. Dynamic colored lighting. Did also just get GTA 3. The Doom 64 port, while not a technical miracle the way the GTA 3 port is, looks spectacular. It looks like just a ton of fun to play. Alright, we haven't cheated yet on this one. I'm gonna try not to if I can. There, that was big. Oh yeah, let's go. We're cruising now. Maybe not. We were briefly. Those are not yet accessible. That felt like a waste, but I think I had to. Yeah, there we go. Oh, we might win this one. This is oddly relaxing. Well, let's try out some different music. Anarch, Panis. Trust me, I've got it queued up and ready to go. You know, every time that I think the music can't get more Chinesey, they manage to do it. I don't know how. It's remarkable, really. That's what I mean. You know, there is an almost endless supply of Chinese music they could have used. You know, beautiful Chinese folk songs that they could have had arranged for instruments would have sounded lovely. Instead, they just had somebody cook up the most, like, Orientalist nonsense. Which, it's so kitschy that it's almost funny. Do you know what I mean? It's deeply silly. Let's look at some other stuff. Now, the other night I had an ecchi mahjong game. But what about an ecchi card game? Right, they whiffed so hard it became funny. This is Tokimeki Card Paradise. Now, I've not played this. We'll see if I have to blank out the video. Also, Feli, I really like your approach to streaming retro by showcasing a different year and playing games just from that year. I think that's a really interesting way to offer some perspective into what the gaming landscape was like at that time. No relation, talking object. Date mode, free play, or option mode. What are our options? Card type, sound effect, background music, game level. What's date mode? Let's find out. Oh, so we get to... Who's our favorite here? Kind of leaning towards either top, middle, or bottom right. You like the anime girl. They do look sad if you don't choose them. Oh wow, yeah, they really have like a whole frame of looking upset if you don't choose them. That's really funny. I like that top middle is winking. Oh, and we select our game, either poker, speed, blackjack, or Baba Nuki. I have no idea what Baba Nuki is. Of course that's the one I end up picking. Well, we're playing Baba Nuki. Whatever that is. Baba is Nuki.
私に話して何？まさか好きな子ができたんだけど、自分の口じゃ恥ずかしくて言えないんで、代わりに言ってほしいとか？図星でしょう。しょうがないわね、まったく。ま、他ならぬ君の頼みだ。快く引き受けてあげよう。で、誰なの？あんたが好きになった子っていうのは。あやめ？それともみな？案外私の知らない年上の女性とか。違う？じゃあ一体。何その目は、まさか
She dropped her Coca-Cola. And the audio didn't load. So I have no idea how to play Old Maid. That did look like a real Coca-Cola can. Oh, okay, the audio's just ceased functioning. She looks extremely 1996, though. Okay, so I don't know how to play this game. You are welcome to backseat me completely in how to play Old Maid. Oh, I see. Those are my cards on the bottom, and I'm choosing a card of hers. I left her with the Joker, apparently. Did I win? Okay. Oh, am I trying to get rid of my Joker? She pulled it. I'm crushing it. Oh no. Good, take that Joker back. Oh no, thank you. I have no idea how this game works. I'm crushing it, apparently. I'm also ready in case I need to stop the video at any moment. Hello, Super Anime Turbo. I guess I'm winning. I take it I'm trying not to draw the Joker. I'm crushing her. I have no idea what the goal of this game is. Oh no, she's getting some points off me. Ha! Idiot. Also, I have to hit the start button to make stuff work. There is no Uno game on PCFX so far as I could tell. Does she put a sweater on if I lose? I mean, I'm accumulating points. Am I... You have Uno! Eventually she'll just be, like, ensconced in clothes. Okay, I think 100 points, is that a threshold that makes something happen? Okay, she took off her jacket. Yeah, miss, we are in the public park. We are outdoors. Is she like the second girl in the Mahjong game who very clearly had an exhibitionist streak? Because she deliberately walked, like, over to the window. Ma'am, this is a Wendy's. You will be arrested if this continues. Also, miss, your shirt is quite tight. Are you okay? So yeah, that's the kind of game this is, but with apparently multiple different card games. Apparently, she's terrible at Old Maid. I have no idea what I'm doing. Yeah, right, then she sat down on the deck to sun herself. And kept acting disappointed that she won. Now, in real life, isn't Old Maid a game of keeping a straight face while people are drawing the undesirable card from you? I don't think that works in a video game where the computer... I can't bluff her, you know? Oh no, I lost the hand. There's not a lot of strategy here. Maybe there is, and I'm just simply too dumb to know.